you're a wedding photographer, you know that when you're photographing details and flat lays on a wedding day, you have to choose the best background that you possibly can for those photos. So in today's video, I want to talk about the best boards and backgrounds you can use and you can find for your flat lays to really make your wedding photography stand out. And if you're new here, I'm Samia. I'm a wedding photographer and I make videos for other wedding photographers on this channel on how to grow your business and photograph weddings. So if that's you, make sure to subscribe and let's get into the video. Okay, so I wanted to pull this up first. So in my experience photographing weddings, there are really three kinds of boards that you can use. The first is a painted board. So you'll see in the back, that's actually a board that was painted. And then there's a plain board, which is just nothing. And then there's a design board, which is either like a fabric or anything with any intricate design. These three flat lays look really different. They're all mine. I photographed all of them. And they were for three really different weddings and different wedding designs. So I wanted to talk about how I chose each of them and why I picked the ones that I picked. Okay, so let's talk first about the painted board. So in my opinion, painted boards look really good when it's implied that the wedding invitation has some paint on it. So if there's any kind of detail on there that has like a paint spackle or anything like that. They also, I think, work well for antique looking invitations or anything where you might be like have made that invitation in a workshop, because the whole idea with creating flat lays is that you're implying that this flat lay and the background that it's in was kind of, the invitation was kind of made in that background. So it works really well for that. And it also just gives a little bit more of a playful feel than the other two kinds. So if your wedding has like a more playful reception with any sort of design that has strokes of paint or anything that's varying in color, I think a painted backdrop could be great. And so where you can get painted backdrops, this one in particular is actually from a company called Lindale Studios. She is amazing. I highly recommend her. And then I've also painted them before for other weddings. So you can go to like an art store and just get a plain mat and some paint and then just do it yourself. Okay, so the plain board. So for many years, I used plain boards for a long time just because I didn't know any different. But now that I do know different and I know that all the different options, I would say plain boards are best for weddings that have sort of a minimal or understated decor. So for example, I used this plain background here because this wedding was, beautiful, timeless, all of these things, and the linens at the reception were actually plain. So it was a sort, some weddings are equally luxurious and beautiful and just still have a minimal approach, if that makes sense. So for this wedding, it made sense to use a plain background and for the focus to be on the invitations and the intricate detail of them. So I think it works well for anything that's minimal. And then also if your photography style as a wedding photographer in itself is minimal, for example, if when you're photographing the bride, like to pick a plain background, or you tend to steer towards white walls or white plain things outside, and you don't go into greenery, we have so many choices as wedding photographers on our backgrounds of things. And I think there's a little bit of a niche or trend of fine art photographers who try and keep the backgrounds as clean as possible. So if that's you, then I would just use all plain backgrounds because I feel like it would keep your work super on brand. For me, I like a busier background, but I do see the value in connecting that with how you're using the rest of the backgrounds on a wedding day. So if you want a plain background, this one is from Etsy. So there are Etsy shops that have plain backgrounds. And then also I have literally used poster boards from Walmart for backgrounds. The only thing that's annoying about them is if you get them, they're kind of annoying to transport. So back when I was starting weddings, I would have like the big poster board like from the science fair and just have like poster boards in there and just bring that whole thing in. It works. And then you can also just get them from Amazon too. So, and then designed backgrounds. So these are really fun. I really do enjoy, I'm like a flat lay nerd. So I like picking out designed backgrounds for a lot of the weddings when it makes sense. So I think design if you're going to use the background with some sort of design on it, it's important to first know the whole style of the wedding. So as wedding photographers, when we go into details, we sometimes don't get that email that shows like, what do your centerpieces look like? What do your linens at your reception look like? So just make sure that if you are going to go this approach, you do ask the wedding planner or your couple, hey, what does your reception look like? So you don't end up photographing a pink background for your flat lays, but then at the reception, the linens are blue and there's no pink at the wedding. So the ideal situation is if you could get the same linen at the reception and use that design for the back of the details. I've done that before. That's the easiest, most cohesive way. But if you are not able to do that, or you want to just do your own background, the best place to get these is at Joann Fabrics. So I go there all the time and I just like see what they have, and it's really, really easy to do. I just get 1 yard. So they're usually like when I got these ones, they were on sale for like $5 or $6 a yard. So it's not too expensive. And then there are also like silk and like fancier fabrics in there, and it could be up to like $17 per yard. So it's really not expensive. Okay, so when should you pick to use a design? I think designed flat lay backgrounds work well for weddings that have more intricate designs in general. So when things are busier, or for example, there's a lot of pattern play going on with, it could be the groom and his tie has pattern play, or there's a lot of patterns and the bridesmaids are all wearing different patterns, and it's just a busier looking wedding, or the florals are all different colors. So I think if that is in the design itself, then it definitely makes sense to match that. It's also giving a little bit of a boutique approach to your wedding photography, because I think the design adds a level of style and intention. So it kind of positions you as more of a boutique business, or someone who is more of an artist, and like more involved in the styling and like the producing of the wedding gallery, if that makes sense. So I would love for the comment section of this video to be full of links where you guys get your backgrounds and flat lay backdrops. So if you have an Amazon link or an Etsy store that you really like, or a designer, please comment below, and let's start kind of like a hub of resources in the comment section, because I would love to shop for more backdrops too. And if you love this video and you're a wedding photographer, make sure to subscribe. And I have tons of other videos on this channel literally on wedding photography, flat lays, and designing and styling, and my styling kit, so many things. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time here on YouTube.